My beloved child, today I want you to sit quietly, still your heart, and open yourself like a field ready to receive the first rain of the season. I do not come in haste, nor do I come to demand that you understand everything in an instant. But today, I come to share with you one thing, truth that may not be easy to hear, but is necessary for your freedom. You have lived through days that seemed unchanged on the surface. Yet deep within your soul, you know you have been dwelling in a quiet unrest. That moment when something feels not quite right, though you cannot name it. When you try to smile, but your heart feels heavy. When those you trust wear masks, and your heart begins to doubt though your mind refuses to accept it. I see that. My child, I know you have prayed in secret. Lord, if there is anything in my life that is not of you, please reveal it. And today, I have come to answer that prayer not only through revelation, but through love, and with a deeper purpose than you might ever have imagined. You must understand this. Revelation is never punishment. It is light, and light is always necessary to drive out darkness. When I bring my light into a hidden corner of your life, I do not come to harm you, but to help you see clearly, so you may walk in freedom. You may be in a relationship, whether family, romantic, friendship, or community where deception has been veiled. Perhaps you have sensed something amiss, but for the sake of affection, responsibility, or fear of loss, you have chosen silence. You have convinced yourself that it's okay, that I just need to be more patient. But my dear child, love is not blindness. To love does not mean to endlessly endure falsehood. I want you to know this. A painful truth is better than a sweet lie. Lies imprison, but truth sets free. I once said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And today, I long for that to happen in your life. Truth is not merely to expose other sin, is first to purify you, to help you clearly see what has been hindering your walk, what has been pulling you away from the true purpose I have for you. You may not see it yet, but after the pain, there is light. After illusion collapses, comes a firm foundation, one on which you can build your life with confidence and peace. I know there will be times when you feel torn. You may feel that accepting the truth is a betrayal of someone else. But accepting truth is never betrayal. It is loyalty to the light, loyalty to me, and loyalty to your truest self. I am not calling you to fight against someone. I am calling you back to yourself. You may think, it would be easier if I just didn't know. But no, my child. I reveal truth because I believe you are strong enough to face it and overcome, and because I love you too deeply to let you remain in the shadows. Before you now, I open a door of clarity, discernment, and genuine love. But this door only opens when you dare to step out of your comfort zone. And the first step is this: the courage to face the truth. Remember, the truth will not break you, because I am the one who holds you firm, even if it wounds you. It is the kind of wound that leads to healing. My beloved child, truth does not come like a gentle breeze, nor does it come to lull the soul. It arrives as a stream of light strong enough to expose the shadows, yet gentle enough not to consume you. When I reveal truth, I do not do it to destroy you, but to free you. I know your heart may tremble, your hands may shake, and your mind may question. But, my child, I never reveal anything without preparing the strength you need to receive it. Like a physician who not only diagnoses, but also heals, I do not only uncover truth, I walk with you through it. What you are about to face is not the end, but the beginning of your freedom. Be brave, for you are not alone. Remember Joseph, the one betrayed by his own brothers out of envy, the one wrongfully imprisoned because of his integrity. For years, he lived in a place without clear answers. But when the day of truth arrived, he did not respond with vengeance, but with forgiveness, because all those years, I had been preparing his heart to receive the truth with maturity, not bitterness. Joseph said to his brothers, "God sent me ahead of you to preserve life." Genesis 45:5. My child, what you are about to discover is not meant to break you, but to reposition you for a new place in my divine purpose. Truth does not take away, hope it realigns your path. There are truths I have longed to show you, but could not because I was unwilling, but because you were not yet ready. Love, dependency, or fear of loss may have blinded you, but I am patient, because I love you. And when I see that your heart has softened enough to welcome light, I will speak not in thunder, but with quiet certainty within your soul. Do not assume all confusion is bad. Sometimes, confusion is the beginning of your release from emotion-driven living and the start of truly listening to me. When you hear that quiet whisper within, saying something isn't right, know this: I am knocking. And when I knock, I will step in with you. I never reveal truth for you to harm others, nor for you to grow bitter. I reveal so that you may be set free, and so the other may also have the chance to repent. In every revelation, I do not only consider what is right, I consider what is good. You may feel pain, but do not confuse pain with abandonment. Pain is part of the process, but my hand is in it. When you come to know the truth, your first response may be confusion. But if you pause, pray, and entrust it to me, you will witness something miraculous, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. You will need courage, but I have planted the seed of courage in you long ago. Through every moment you forgave when you didn't have to, stayed silent when you were hurting, or prayed when no one knew, it was all part of how I prepared your heart for this very moment. And if you sense that now is the time to see clearly, it is not random. It is the awakening of discernment I placed in you. You do not need to react immediately, nor act on impulse. I want you to respond with light, the light of kindness, steadiness, and wisdom. Above all, my beloved, do not fear the light. Do not fear the truth, for I am the truth. I do not want you to live one more day in suspicion, confusion, or pretense. I want you to step out slowly, but decisively into a place where you can breathe in serenity, not self-protection. If something must come to an end, I will be there. If someone must walk away, I will remain. Because the ultimate goal is not to hold on to everything, but to hold you within my will, and my will for you is always good, pleasing, and perfect. Romans 12:2. My precious one, there are things you haven't seen clearly, not because you lack intelligence, but because darkness can disguise itself so skillfully. Lies do not always arrive wearing a threatening face. Sometimes they come clothed in care, disguised as love, and speak in the language of sweetness. But no matter how cleverly they are veiled, my light cannot be deceived. It is not a spotlight to impress others, but a quiet beam that pierces the hidden corners of your heart. When I decide to shine, nothing can remain hidden. I do not want you to live forever with a vague sense that something is off. I want you to know and be free. True peace cannot be built upon deception. You have doubted your own intuition before, out of fear of hurting others, thinking love must tolerate everything. But my child, tolerance does not include lies. True love does not fear the light, and one who is true to you will not hide from clarity. I see the moments when you wanted to ask, but chose silence, when you felt unsettled, but calmed yourself with excuses. That wasn't weakness, it was your heart trying to preserve what was precious. But I do not want you to preserve something false, for no matter how cherished, a lie can never give life. When I shine my light into a situation, you may feel overwhelmed, for perhaps what you believed was a friend, a partner, a companion, held motives that were not what they seemed. But the light does not come to destroy, it comes to liberate. You will no longer have to live by second guesses or emotional dependency. I want you to live in transparency, in truth, and in freedom, and you will be surprised to find what you were afraid to lose may have been the very thing holding you captive. My light does not only reveal others, it also reveals your own heart, so you may learn to see not just with emotion, but with spiritual eyes. Look at the life of Samuel, the prophet I called from childhood, and you'll see that light is never vague. When the people asked for a king, I revealed the heart of Saul, tall, strong, but lacking inner strength. Later, when I rejected Saul and chose David, I did not look at outward appearances, but at the heart. I said to Samuel, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. My child, my light is doing the same in your life. What seems good, seems right, seems trustworthy must be tested in my light. You may think that if the truth is exposed, everything will fall apart. But my child, what is built on truth will stand, and what collapses in the light was never meant to remain in you. I love you too much to let you be bound by anything false, no matter how small or seemingly harmless. Even a tiny crack can bring down a house if left unhealed. My light comes to prevent greater harm and to rebuild something more solid. Do not resist the light just because you've grown used to the dark. You may not need to confront anyone, nor act hastily. The first thing you must do is listen to me in that light. Let it shine on every question in your heart, every word you've ever heard, every feeling you've brushed aside. When you allow my light to lead you, you'll find yourself no longer trapped in confusion. Clarity will come, and with it, peace. True peace, not from holding on to something, but from knowing for certain that you are living in the truth. My child, there are things that happen to you, things even you cannot explain. Why now? Why that person? Why did it end this way? I see the questions lingering in your soul, silent, persistent, and at times aching. But my dear child, I never do anything without purpose. Even when you don't understand in this moment, everything I do carries a vision that reaches far beyond the moment you are living in. I do not just care about your today, I care about your eternity. I am not building a house to last a night. I am crafting a life with depth, with roots, with everlasting meaning. And to do that, sometimes I must lead you through paths you would never choose on your own. Do you remember Job, a righteous and upright man? Yet he suffered great loss: his wealth, his family, his health, his honor, even when his friends and his wife urged him to give up his faith. Job held on to me, though he did not understand. At times he complained. At times he questioned. But he never walked away from his relationship with me. And in the end, he said, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Job 42:5. My beloved child, you may not understand right now, you may be hurting, asking why, but I am opening your eyes, refining your soul, drawing you from shallow understanding to a deep encounter in faith. I am not angry when you are confused. I do not distance myself when you ask, why? My love is greater than your passing emotions. And if you let me lead you through this chaos without running away, you will realize that my hand has never let go. What I allow in your life is not to test your loyalty, but to distill your faith, a faith that does not rest on answers, but on me. Some questions may never find answers here, but my presence will always be enough. Do not fear what you cannot yet see, for I am still at work silently, but never ceasing. You may be losing someone, a door, a dream you thought was yours, but my child, I never take away anything without preparing something better for your eternal good. What you see as loss, I see as transition. What you call an ending, I see as a new chapter. Sometimes what you call a mistake is the very turning point I use to place you squarely in the flow of my will. And one day, when you look back, you will thank me for what I closed with tears, because it opened peace that never left. You were not created to understand everything. You were created to trust the one who understands all. Every journey I take you on has a destination, even if you cannot yet see it. Do not let delay or silence convince you that I have forgotten. Not a single one of your tears is wasted. Not a single prayer goes unheard. I am weaving something magnificent, each thread made up of your pain, your waiting, your disappointment. But when the masterpiece is complete, you will see how all of it has come together to form something good. My child, what I do today is not only for your tomorrow, but for your forever in my kingdom. Sometimes the best gift is not explanation, but trust. And the more you trust me in the darkness, the clearer you will see the light when it comes. I never promised you would not cry, but I promise your tears will have meaning. And one day, when I wipe them all away, you will understand everything I did was right at the right time, in the right way, and all because I love you. My beloved child, I know the darkness can make you tremble, not because it touches your body, but because it touches the places you cannot control, the future, hidden truths, or that disorienting feeling of being lost. But my child, do not fear the darkness, for I am not bound by light or dark. I am the one who created the first light, and I am also the eternal light in your soul. When you can no longer clearly see the way, remember, light is not only around you, light is within you. Because my presence is there, even if the circumstances outside grow dim. If your heart still turns toward me, you will never truly be lost. Darkness has no real power, it only exists where light is absent. And I have never left you. The moments that seem the most silent, the most lonely, are often the moments I am closest to you. Like when David fled from Saul, wandering in the wilderness, without shelter, without trusted companions yet. It was in that very place he wrote songs of praise to me, words lifted from the depths. He once declared, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Psalm 23:4. My child, if I could be David's light in a place of danger, I will be your light in the midst of your unnamed fears. Do not confuse darkness with my absence. There are nights when I do not speak, when I do not appear in miracles, and yet I am still holding your soul from breaking. I do not need to speak loudly to be present. My presence is not always in the noise. Sometimes it is the quiet peace that no words can explain. When everything in you wants to panic, but something deeper holds you still, that is the light I have placed within you. It is not a feeling, it is a real, steady, unshakable presence. And there is no darkness thick enough to extinguish it. You used to think light was something you had to go out and find. But the truth is, the greatest light is that I am within you. Darkness only wins when you believe it holds more power than I do. But if you look to me even with a flicker of hope, even with a faint prayer light begins to rise again in you, like an oil lamp that needs no sunlight to burn. Your soul does not need the world to be bright for your heart to shine. As long as there is oil, your faith, your love for flame will continue. And when that flame illuminates your soul, you become a light in the darkness for others who still cannot see. I do not promise that you will never fall into the night, but I promise you will never be there alone. And I promise my light will be enough not to let you understand everything, but to let you know I am still there. Every step taken in the dark with me is a step closer to the eternal purpose I have for you. And one day, when you look back, you will not remember how thick the darkness was, but only this: the Lord did not abandon me. For my presence not only helps you endure the night, it turns you into a small light in a dim and weary world. So, my child, stop fearing the dark. Do not let it make you stop, shrink back, or reject the journey I am leading you on. Keep walking not by sight, but by faith. Keep praying. Even if your prayer is just a weary whisper, I hear, I know, I am walking with you, and my light not to show you everything, but to keep you standing will never go out. My child, not everything you see is what is true. This world hides well. Gentle words can conceal blades, and smiles can mask ill intent. But I have not called you to live in confusion. I have given you a gift, not sharp eyes, but a discerning heart. Spiritual discernment is the ability to see beyond appearances, to perceive the essence, the motive, and the spirit behind a thing. It is not about guessing people's minds, but about a sensitivity illuminated by the Holy Spirit. As you walk with me, you do not only learn to believe, but to test what you believe. And discernment is the quiet light I place in your heart to keep you from stumbling over illusions. You do not need to suspect everyone, but you are invited to know who is true. Not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, belongs to me, and not everything done in my name comes from me. Just like in Eden, the serpent's words were not entirely false but twisted enough to lead into deception. My child, discernment does not make you cold or cynical. It helps you walk in love, with eyes wide awake. There are doors that look beautiful, but I did not open them. There are praises that seek to pull you away from me. Without discernment, you will live on the surface, and disappointment will sweep over your heart like waves crushing an anchorless boat. Remember Solomon, to whom I gave not gold or silver first, but a wise and discerning heart, when two women fought over one child. It was my wisdom that helped him see the true mother. Solomon didn't just listen, he looked at reactions, at motives, and discerned what was right. My child, I want you to have eyes like that, not eyes that see only through flesh, but through my spirit. For the world grows more alike on the surface, and only spiritual discernment will tell you what is true, what is false, what is from me, and what only bears my name. Discernment does not come from intelligence, but from deep communion with me. When you learn to quietly hear my voice, you will know what I affirm and what grieves my spirit. Sometimes, something looks good, but your heart feels uneasy. Do not ignore that stirring. It is me, telling you to pause, reflect, and pray again. Remember, discernment doesn't always make you faster, but it makes you wiser. And that is how I protect you from roads that appear lovely but are laced with hidden traps. My child, do not grow weary of testing all things. I have not taught you to live in suspicion, but to cherish the light I give. Some will call you cautious, slow to decide, or even overly skeptical, but you do not need to please them. You only need to walk in a way that pleases me. Discernment will keep your heart from investing in the wrong people, from placing trust in shaky foundations, and this very gift will shield your soul from unnecessary wounds. I do not promise you will never be deceived, but I promise spiritual discernment will be a faithful companion if you hold it close in prayer. So, my child, when you face choices, invitations, or tangled emotions, do not rush. Come to me and ask, Lord, is this from you? Let me teach you the difference between the applause of man and the approval of the Spirit. And then, as you walk with discernment, though the world may shift, though people may change, you will remain steady, for you are no longer walking by your own eyes, but by my eyes within you, my beloved child. When I bring truth into the light, it is never to shame or wound you. I am not one who exposes to make you feel small. I am the one who loves you too much to let you keep living in what is quietly breaking your soul. Whatever I bring into the light, I bring not to condemn but to heal. There are things within you that have been hidden too long, not just from others, but even from yourself. But my light does not come to disgrace you. It comes to cleanse you. Darkness breeds sin, but light sets you free, and I never uncover what I am not ready to cover again in mercy. There are things that will be exposed, not only in others, but also within you. Do not fear when I shine my light on the parts you have tried to keep hidden. No one enjoys being seen in weakness, in failure, or in brokenness. But, my child, only when something is brought into the light can it be truly healed. If you keep it in the dark, it will continue to poison your soul like a wound that festers when kept from the touch of a physician. I am the healer, and my light does not only expose, it cleanses, disinfects, and restores. Exposure is never the end, it is the beginning of a renewed life. Remember Peter, who once boldly declared he would follow me unto death, yet denied me 3 times in the moment I needed him most. I did not expose him before the crowd, nor shame him publicly. I met with him privately and asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" Not to embarrass him, but to restore him. And from that place of weakness, Peter became one of the foundational pillars of the early church. My child, when I touch the truth in you, it is not condemnationite, is a calling back. You no longer need to hide. I am not shocked by what you've done, thought, or felt. I saw it all before, and I still chose to love you. True restoration begins not when you prove you are fine, but when you dare to bring your brokenness before me, when you can say, Lord, here I am with all my failures, pain, and shame. That is the moment the door to healing truly opens. I do not need you to be perfect, only honest. And what is honest, I can transform. Do not let fear of pain keep you from the journey of restoration. Perhaps your past has taught you that being truly seen means being rejected. But I am not like others. I saw you fully from the beginning, and I chose to stay. The cleansing I bring is not to hurt you, but to set you free. There may be tears, but those tears will wash away the dust that has settled on your soul for far too long. You will no longer live 2 live zone for the world, 1 in secret. You will be free, truly free, with nothing left hidden to shame or haunt you. So, my child, if I am exposing something, whether within you or around you, welcome it not with fear, but with hope. It is a sign that I am mending, restoring, and rebuilding you upon a true foundation. Truth will not break you if you let me hold you in it. And I promise, After the unveiling will come renewal. After the pain will come peace. After confession will come grace. I do not reveal to shame you. I reveal to make you like me, pure, strong, and fully alive. My child, there are days when your heart feels like a leaf tossed in the storm adrift, fragile, uncertain of what to hold on to. Circumstances shift. People change. The news unsettles you. But remember this, the peace I give is not like the world's peace. It does not depend on who treats you kindly, whether your job is secure, or if things go according to plan. My peace is a supernatural grace. It is not rooted in outer calm, but in my steady presence within you. When everything shakes, you will remain standing if your heart is anchored in me. When my disciples were on the boat in the middle of the storm, the winds raged and the sea threatened to overtake them. They feared. They cried out, thinking they were about to die. But I was asleep, not because I was indifferent, but because I am not moved by circumstance. And when they woke me, I calmed not only the sea, I calmed their hearts. My child, the storm may continue, but when your eyes are fixed on me, the waves no longer control what's within you. True peace does not come when the storm ends. It comes from knowing that I am in the boat with you. Don't wait for life to settle before you seek peace, for this world rarely stays calm for long. Learn to find me right in the middle of the chaos. Let your moments of prayer, deep breathing, and openness become the soil where peace takes root. And you will see, even when there is noise around you, there will be a stillness inside you that cannot be shaken. That peace is not the absence of problems, it is my presence in the midst of every problem. It is part of the new life you have in me, a life that surpasses all understanding, even your own. You may not be able to change your circumstances, control others, or predict tomorrow, but you can choose to remain in me. And when you do, I will hold you in steady peace, unshaken, unwavering. When others react in panic, you will know how to quiet your heart. When bad news arrives, you will not be buried beneath it, because you've learned to hear my voice above the noise of the world. Peace is a hidden weapon, and you carry it within, like a shield against every unseen arrow. My child, if your heart is troubled today, sit with me. You don't need to say much, just be with me, fully present in my presence. Your breath will slow, your thoughts will settle, and something miraculous will happen. Peace will return, not a surface comfort, but a deep spiritual anchoring where you know no matter what comes, you are not alone, not lost. You have me, and that is enough. There are days when your heart feels weary, not because you've done something wrong, but because everything seems to be working against you. You pray, you try, you endure it, but nothing seems to change. It feels like you're standing in the middle of a battle without knowing who the enemy is, or what you must do to get out. But my child, I never let you fight alone. Not for a single moment do I stand by and watch you carry it all by yourself. In the very moments when you feel the weakest, I am the one standing in the battlefield on your behalf. There are battles where your only task is to believe and be still, and I will do the fighting. Remember when the Israelites were trapped between the Red Sea and the Egyptian army? They were terrified, certain they had reached the end. But I spoke through Moses, "Be still, and I will fight for you." And then the sea parted. You see, sometimes miracles don't come after you act, but after you surrender and trust. So often you think you must do more, try harder, but the only thing I truly need is for you to let go and let me work. I don't need you to prove anything to me. I only need you to believe that I'm still working, even in the silence. You've grown tired from carrying all the pressure, haven't you? The inner battles: fear, doubt, restless thoughts that steal your sleep. I see them all. You don't have to wear a brave face every day. I didn't call you to be a lone warrior. I called you to be my child, to live by my strength. Sometimes, faith doesn't look like rising up to do something grand. Sometimes, it looks like choosing to rest, even when you have no clear answers, and when you have nothing left to offer. That's when I begin to do my part. There are enemies you can't quite see: harmful thoughts, inévois, wounds from the past. But those are the battles I'm fighting for you. 2. Quietly, I am clearing the way, untying the knots, dismantling layers of doubt. You may not clearly see what I'm doing, but take note: you're still standing, still believing, still praying. That alone is proof I've never left the field. And if you feel peace in the middle of chaos, that's me holding your heart together. You don't always need to do something to fight. Sometimes, what you need is to sit down, lay your burden at my feet, and say, I'm tired. Lord, fight this battle for me, and I will not with swords or spears, but with power, with presence, with faithfulness you've already known. Though you may have forgotten, I have never lost a battle, and I will never ask you to win in your own strength. Victory in me doesn't make you proud, it makes you grateful and brings you peace. So next time your heart feels weary, when you find yourself struggling against something you can't name, don't brace yourself again. Exhale. Be honest with me, and let me do what I've always done: fight for the one I love. Whether you see it or not, I am there at the front lines, shielding you, clearing the path before you, and keeping you from collapse. And when the victory comes, you'll know this for sure: I never gave up, and you were never meant to fight alone. Forgiveness is never easy, especially when the one who hurt you is someone you once held dear. You may have thought that if you forgive, they'll think they were right, or that you're lowering yourself. But forgiveness has never meant saying, it's okay. Forgiveness means saying, I will no longer imprison myself in this pain. It doesn't mean forgetting, it means allowing me to step in. Instead of letting resentment take control of your heart, forgiveness is stepping out of the role of the victim and into the life of the healed. And only when you let go will your heart be light enough to see what I'm doing. Holding on to bitterness is like holding a burning coal in your hand. You think you're waiting for the right moment to strike, but the longer you hold it, the more it burns you. You may be right to feel hurt. You may have every right to ask for justice, but I never told you to take justice into your own hands. I said, let me handle that. Yet I can only step in when you open the door, and that door is forgiveness. When you forgive, you are not declaring the other person innocent. You're simply handing the authority of judgment back to the one who is truly just. Look at the life of Joseph, sold by his brothers, betrayed, forgotten, and yet when he stood before those who once harmed him, he didn't retaliate. He chose to forgive. And because of that, his entire family was saved, and a nation survived. Forgiveness doesn't just change your feelings, it unlocks a new flow in your destiny. If Joseph had held on to resentment, he might have cut himself off from the very calling I placed on his life. In the same way, in your situation, I may be preparing something great, but I need your heart to be cleared first. When you forgive, the spiritual atmosphere around you shifts. The weight you carried is set down, and in its place is room for me to move as I desire. Some miracles haven't come because your heart is still too full of bitterness. Some answers haven't arrived because you're still holding on to something that should have been given to me. It's not that I don't want to work, it's that I won't force myself into a space you haven't invited me into through faith and forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a spiritual act, a decision made in faith. Forgiveness is not always easy, and I know that sometimes you may need to forgive the same person for the same thing, again and again, every time the memory returns. That's normal. Forgiveness is a journey, not a single moment. But every time you choose to release it, your heart becomes a little lighter, and I become a little closer. You are not alone in this journey. I will give you the strength to forgive, just as I have forgiven you. And through that forgiveness, you will not only be healed, you will become more like me. So if today there is someone in your heart who still brings you pain, don't try to ignore it. Don't pretend to be okay. Be honest. Say to me, I don't know how to forgive, but I'm willing for you to help me. And that door will open, and through that door will come healing, freedom, and the good plans I have prepared for you. Forgiveness may not be easy, but it is always worth it. And you will be amazed by what I can do in your situation, starting from one decision to let go. And let me take it from here. My child, there are moments when truth comes and strikes something tender in your heart, not because it is wrong, but because it does not resemble what you once believed, hoped for, or tried so hard to hold on to. You may think that by staying silent or avoiding it, everything will somehow resolve itself. But truth does not disappear simply because we refuse to look at it. It remains but capable of eroding your joy, your peace, even your trust. I do not bring truth to make you feel like a failure. I allow truth to come to light so that you can live genuinely, freely, without having to strain and pretend each day. Every truth revealed is a step out of darkness, drawing you closer to true freedom. Sometimes your fear of facing the truth isn't a sign of weakness, but a scar left by pain and loss from past confrontations. I understand, but my child, when you dare to face the truth, it no longer holds power over you. I do not want you to live in doubt, to move half-heartedly with uncertainty. You deserve clarity, and to live in clarity. You need truth, even if it brings tears. But after the tears will come peace. After the breaking, something new. I am inviting you into a place where your soul can finally breathe. Do you remember the woman at the well? She lived hidden in shame, in fear, in silence. But when Jesus spoke to her about the truth of her life, not with condemnation, not with harshness, she was set free. Not because forgiveness came instantly, but because she no longer had to hide, and immediately afterward, she became the one to speak truth to an entire village. Do you see? When truth is revealed in love, it doesn't destroy, it resurrects. And I want you to live again, like that. Sometimes, truth comes gently, a word that stirs your heart, a glance that stops you in your tracks, a repeated pattern that causes you to pause. Don't dismiss it too quickly. I see the wavering in your heart. That is the moment I am knocking with truth. Not to confuse you, but to quiet you. Every time you admit something isn't right is a step toward the light, and that light you will not walk toward it alone. I am beside you, step by step. I know you want things to be made right the moment truth comes to light. But my child, sometimes all you are called to do is to sit with the truth long enough, quietly enough for it to sink in. That, too, is a spiritual act. You don't have to fix everything at once. You only need to take the first step, and that step is acknowledging the truth. When you are honest with me, I will do the rest. Freedom doesn't come from doing everything perfectly, but from daring to live honestly before me. with nothing left hidden. So if a truth is now rising in your heart or appearing clearly before your eyes, do not fear it. Do not run. Invite me in. Let me walk with you through this journey of truth, because every truth brought into the light is a doorway to healing, to freedom, to lasting peace. As I have said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And that freedom, that is the life I desire for you every day, my child. There are times in life when you feel like you're walking alone through unfamiliar land. No one understands. No one walks beside you. And sometimes even your prayers fall silent. But I want you to remember this. I have never left you, not even for a moment. Even when you cannot feel me, I am there. Sometimes not through a loud voice, but through a perfectly timed encounter. A person who shows up just when you need them, or a lift in your spirit that you cannot explain. In those very moments, my angels are quietly doing their work to protect and uphold you. You may not always see them, but they are truly there. I send my angels to watch over you, to deliver messages, to open the way, to pull you back from dangers you didn't even know were near. In Scripture, there was a time when Elijah, overwhelmed and exhausted, laid under a tree and asked to die. But instead of rebuking him, I sent an angel who touched him, brought him food and water. Elijah was not abandoned in his weakest hour, and neither are you. When you are weary, I do not scold. I send help quietly, tenderly, through angels of strength and mercy. You may think that only special people are cared for by angels, but know that is for every child I love. Sometimes, angels do not come to rescue you, but simply to steady your heart when the storm has yet to pass. And do you know something? That unexpected peace in the middle of a chaotic day can be a sign you may not see it, but someone is surrounding you with holy protection. That is me, through my angels, whispering into your heart, I am still here. Do not be afraid. Oh, I am not only present in churches, at gatherings, or during spiritually fruitful seasons. I am there in the dark stretches of your road, in the nights you cannot sleep, and the mornings when you struggle just to get out of bed. And in those moments, I send angels not to live your life for you, but so you'll know you are never alone. Have you ever escaped something that seemed impossible? Have you stood again after a season where you thought you had fallen for good? That was because of silent support, and angels were part of that provision. I know you like what is visible, what can be measured, explained, or touched. But faith is not always about seeing. Sometimes, faith is the deep assurance that I am guarding you, even when all you can see is darkness. As I have promised, He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Psalm 91. Every step you take has already been protected long before you even asked. With me, there is no such thing as too late, only right on time. So if your heart feels unsteady today, remember, there has not been a single moment where you were truly alone. There is a presence covering you. There is protection at work, quiet but real. And that, in itself, is proof that I have never forsaken you. When you walk through trials, it is not because you are strong, but because my hand and my angels are walking with you. So, my child, keep going with courage. You are not alone, never have been. There are days when your heart feels dry, when you feel no emotion left to be kind. There are moments when you want to love, to be patient, to respond gently, but everything around you makes it easier to be angry than to be compassionate. I know that, because I understand that your heart is not always full, not always strong, But it is in these very moments that love comes not from emotion but from choice, from obedience. When you choose to love not because you feel like it, but because you know I desire it, that love carries the shape of me. Sometimes you ask, why should I keep loving someone who doesn't treat me well? I'm not telling you to ignore your wounds, but I am also not calling you to let your fleeting emotions determine how you treat others. True love does not grow from convenience, but from abiding in me. You don't need to feel the right feelings before you begin to love. All you need is to believe that when you obey me in love, I will provide the strength to do it rightly, wisely, and in my timing. Look to my Son Jesus and you will understand this more clearly. On the cross, in the midst of pain and betrayal, he still said, Father, forgive them. That was not spoken from comfort, it was born of complete obedience to my loving plan. Jesus loved to the end not because people deserved it, but because he chose to walk in step with me to the end. I am inviting you to walk the Salmon, not to love perfectly, but to love faithfully, to love as an act of faith, not a reaction of fluctuating emotions. Sometimes, loving in obedience means letting go of a relationship, not because you hate, but because I am calling you into a new chapter. You may feel torn, but I do not call you to cling to what is slowly withering your soul. Love does not always mean staying. Sometimes love means release with respect, with quiet blessings, with silence. And even that is obedience. Love under my guidance always sets you free, never binds you in chains. I do not expect you to become the world's best lover of others. I only ask you to listen. When I place something in your heart, a kindness, a word of forgiveness, an act of reconciliation, don't wait for your emotions to agree. Just take one step of obedience, and I will take care of the rest. Because the love that comes from me is never depleted, never dependent on how others respond, never diminished by time. It is enough for you, and it will also flow through you to others. As you continue to follow what I have taught you, I once said, love your neighbor as yourself. Do not wait until someone appears lovable, approachable, or deserving. I do not love you because you are perfect. I love you because I am love. And when you choose to obey me in love, you are living in my likeness. This is a love that does not boast, that does not depend on feelings, but stands firm like a rock, loving because it is right. I walk with you on this journey of love, every smallest choice. I see it, and I smile. I know there are wounds you no longer want to name, things that happened long ago, thought to be buried. Yet with just a glance, just a word, the old feelings surge back. Sometimes you can't even define the pain, you only know it tightens your chest and your trust feels fractured. But my child, no matter how well you hide it, I see not to judge, but to heal. No wound is too old, no pain too deep that I cannot reach it. I do not heal by making you forget, but by helping you walk through it, unbound and free. Some wounds were caused by others, but some pain you have taken upon yourself. Mistakes, regrets, words and actions you wish you could take back. I see you blaming yourself, avoiding forgiveness because you think you're unworthy. But it is in these very moments that I long for you to know. Healing does not begin with you being better, but with you giving the wound to me. The longer you hold it in, the deeper it sinks. But if you dare to open it before me, I will touch it gently, patiently, without force. Do you remember the woman who had suffered from bleeding for 12 years? She did not dare to come close to anyone, living in silence and shame. But with one touch of Jesus' robe, not loud, not dramatic, healing power was released instantly. not because she was strong, but because she dared to believe. I invite you to touch me the same way, in silence, with even the smallest faith, as long as it is real. And you will see, I do not only heal the body, I heal the soul. Even the corners of memory you thought untouchable. Do not think healing is always quick. I do not patch things up just to leave them be. I make all things new from the root. You may feel the process is slow, but that is because I want not only to remove the pain, but to help you grow through it. I turn wounds into the place where I am closest to you. And one day, what once brought you to tears will become a testimony that I did not abandon you in the darkness, but led you out of it. Step by step. I do not ask you to pretend you're okay. I only ask you to be honest. If you feel weak, tell me. If your faith is wavering, tell me. Because only when you dare to be real can true healing begin. Not every wound is a curse will become the place where I use you to lift others in the same pain. And that is more beautiful than anything you could imagine for. You are healed not just to live, but to love more deeply, more humbly. You may wonder, will he have the patience to heal someone like me? The answer is, I began before you even knew you needed healing. When you were silent, I was still working. When you let go, I still held on. And now, I invite you to draw near. No masks. No need to be strong. Bring me even the wound you think I wouldn't want to touch. Because there is no brokenness I cannot heal, not even the things you've never spoken aloud. I know there are days when you're unsure of what's happening. The promises seem delayed. The prayers still unanswered. And in that long silence, doubt begins to stir. You ask, are you listening? Or are you even doing anything? I am not angry when you question me. But I want you to know, faith in me, even if small, holds more power than any lie doubt can whisper. And if you cling to that faith, it will steady you more than any fleeting feeling inside. Doubt does not always arrive in great storms. It seeps into prolonged waiting, into the small, unmet expectations, into the silent comparisons you make between yourself and others. It doesn't shout, but it quietly wears down your heart. And my child, when it comes, I do not ask you to prove a mighty faith. I simply invite you, don't let go of my hand. For when you still choose to believe, even with just a whisper, that faith is already strong enough to stand against the undercurrent of doubt flowing beneath the surface. Do you remember Abraham? He was not a perfect man. He laughed when I promised something that seemed too impossible. But still, he believed. Not because he understood the full plan, but because he chose to trust the one who made the promise, rather than the promise itself. That is what made him the father of faith. And you, too. I do not expect you to understand everything. I only ask that you keep trusting me, even when you cannot see clearly what lies ahead. The more you believe, the more your mind is shielded from confusion. Faith is your armor, your shield, the anchor for your soul in stormy days. I once said, the righteous will live by faith, not by evidence, not by constant miracles, but by faith. And this faith is not something you must manufacture from your own strength. I am the source of the strength you need to hold on, even when your heart trembles. The moment you say, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, I'm already there. Absolute trust in me is not a denial of reality. It is the decision to look at me more than your circumstances. It is saying, though I don't know what will happen, I still know who you are. And that is the most powerful weapon you have against fear, against uncertainty, and against the voice of doubt that whispers every night. When you stand in faith, you do not stand alone. The entire kingdom of heaven stands behind you. The more you believe, the more you will see. doubt no longer has a place in your heart. So, if today you find yourself in a gray zone where nothing feels certain, hold fast to the one thing you do know for sure. I do not change. I have never abandoned you, and I will not start now. You may tremble, but faith still stands. You may have doubts, but if you still choose to return to me, you are still walking the path of the blessed. For in a world of chaos, your trust in me becomes the very weapon that anchors your heart in a peace that is deep and unshakable. I know there are wounds in your heart that not only ache, but echo with a persistent cry, something must be done. Your soul is restless. Your heart aches at the memory of how you were hurt, and part of you wants to speak out, to demand justice in your own way. But my child, vengeance cannot heal. A wound it only pushes it deeper into your soul. Every time you choose to hold on to anger, you bind yourself to the very thing I long to set you free from. You may think you are weak for not reacting, but true strength is choosing me in the midst of your anger. Forgiveness does not mean ignoring the truth or excusing what was wrong. Forgiveness is the decision to let me handle what belongs to me and to keep your heart from being poisoned by bitterness. Because bitterness does not stop with one person, it spreads. It breaks. It distorts the way you see life. But when you choose to let me stand between you and the one who hurt you, you are choosing life a wider, more peaceful, and truly freer path. Remember Joseph, the one betrayed by his own brothers, sold away, thrown into a prison cell. But when the moment of confrontation came, he did not choose anger. He did not demand back what was lost. Instead, he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Those words revealed one thing. Joseph allowed me to rewrite his story with forgiveness, not hatred. And I long to rewrite your story the same way, not with a broken ending, but with a new chapter of life and blessing. I know forgiveness is not a one-time act. Sometimes it's a repeated choice, made bit by bit. Each morning, each memory, each time the wound is stirred, you choose again to let go, to choose me. And each time you do, you are clearing the path for my life to flow freely into your heart. You cannot hold on to both me and bitterness. One will have to leave. And when you choose to hold on to me, I will take care of the rest. I will bring justice at the right time, in the right way, according to my righteousness, not your burning emotions. If you are waiting for the other person to admit they're wrong before you're willing to forgive, you may end up waiting your whole life. But if you entrust that right to me, you will no longer be suspended in the agony of waiting. You will move forward lighter, freer, without carrying anyone in the backpack of anger and pain. Forgiveness does not make you weak. Forgiveness is the clearest sign that you trust me, that I am good enough, just enough, and strong enough to deal with what's been done, and I will handle it in a way that brings healing not only to your heart, but to your life. You are not the only one who has ever been hurt, and you are not the first to choose release in order to preserve life. Jesus, while hanging on the cross, blood still flowing, pain still real, spoke the words, "Father, forgive them." He chose not revenge. He chose me. And because of that choice, life was given to all of humanity. You too, when you choose me instead of vengeance, are doing something far greater than yourself, opening the door for life to flow, not only into you, but into the world around you. My beloved child, I know you've experienced relationships that wounded you. There were those who promised to stay, but turned away. Some once held your hand, then slowly let go without a word. And you've asked yourself, what is real? Is there anyone who won't change? My child, Listen to me. I am the one who does not change. My love is not worn down by time, not conditioned by behavior, and not withdrawn when you are weak. I do not love you because you deserve it. I love you because I have chosen to, completely, steadfastly, eternally. Even when you change, I remain the same. And when everything else leaves, I remain. People's hearts change. That is a reality you must face. They love and then grow distant, promise and then forget, begin and then abandon. Not everyone intends to hurt you, but people are fragile, forgetful, and easily swayed. That is why I call you not to build your trust entirely on people, but to root your life in me. I am the solid rock, the place you can lean on without fear of collapse. When someone shifts, betrays, or quietly slips away from your life, run to me. I will not say, "I told you so." I will embrace you as if the wound never happened. Remember Jeremiah the prophet, who wept more than he spoke. He faithfully declared my word, yet was rejected, betrayed, and persecuted by his own people. At one point, he cried, "Everyone mocks me," but in all his loneliness, he never gave up hope in me, because he knew when no one stood with him, he still stood beside him. My child, there will be times when you feel like Jeremiah, faithful yet isolated, loving yet unloved. But remember, my love does not betray, does not withdraw, does not leave things incomplete. You may change, and you will. There will be days when you love me deeply, and days when you feel distant. There will be moments of fervent prayer, and moments of weary silence. But I do not abandon you in your weakness. My love does not waver with your devotion. I still hold your hand, even when you have no strength to hold mine. When you forget to pray, I still quietly protect you. When you fail, I do not turn my face away. I bend down and wait for you to return. For I am faithfully yesterday, today, and forever. So, my child, let my love become the one unchanging anchor in your ever-changing life. When you rest in that unshakable truth, you will no longer fear losing people, fear change, or fear being alone. You will no longer live in search of human approval, but from the security of heaven's assurance. My love is strong enough for you to lean on, wide enough to hold all the feelings you cannot express, and deep enough that no one can steal it away. When others change, you will not crumble, because you are built upon the one who never changes. Therefore, my child, do not be disoriented when someone changes. Do not let that define your worth. You are not abandoned, not dismissed, not forgotten. I am the Lord, and I have engraved your name upon the palms of my hands. What I have spoken over you does not change. No matter how your emotions rise and fall, no matter who comes or goes, and that love unshakable and eternal will be the place where you find yourself again whenever the world shifts too quickly. Have you ever seen a pure spring? The water flows gently, untouched by filth, and refreshes all who drink from it. The human heart is like that spring when it remains pure, unsullied by the dust of the world. Life and blessing from me flow naturally through it. You don't need to chase after miracles or strive anxiously for blessings. I do not withhold myself from those with pure hearts. I delight in souls that are sincere, not manipulative, not bitter, not scheming, where your heart holds light. I dwell, and where I dwell, blessing always follows. I do not speak of a flawless perfection, for I know you live in a broken world, and there will be times you stumble, times your thoughts go astray, But what I seek in you is a genuine heart, not one that hides its faults, but one that is willing to be corrected by me. Purity is choosing to guard your heart against bitterness, envy, and dark motives, not because you are always strong, but because you let me guide how you see and how you respond. When your heart is settled, gentle, and pure, you will see my provision come like the wind, quiet, unannounced, yet perfectly timed and completely enough. I remember the young shepherd boy, David. He didn't appear special to anyone, but one thing set him apart. He had a heart that pleased me. Though he was forgotten in the fields and overlooked by his own family, David kept his heart soft, worshiping me in the silence. And from that humble pasture, I lifted him to the throne, not because of his brilliance, but because I saw in him a pure heart that feared me. That is what I am also looking for in you, not perfection, but a true heart, ready to follow my voice. There are things you've prayed for over and over, yet still have not seen, not because I didn't hear you, but because I've been waiting for your heart to grow lighter. Perhaps you are still holding on to something harmful, a lingering anger you haven't released, a jealousy you haven't let go, or a hidden habit you've kept in the dark. I don't desire to expose or shame you. I simply want you to release these things so I can fill you with something better. My blessings are never hindered by circumstances, but by the silent walls within your heart. When those are cleared away, you will see. I've always been ready to give. I've just been waiting for you to open your heart to receive. My child, a pure heart does not make you weak. It makes you strong in the most unshakable way. The one with a pure heart is not easily swayed or drawn to what is temporary. They walk gently, yet powerfully, because they carry my peace and my life within them. That is the kind of person I trust to bless, to use in greater purposes, to become a wellspring of encouragement to many. And when your heart remains pure, you won't have to chase after anything. Blessing will come find you, because I am the one who causes it to flow. I have said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." When your heart is no longer clouded by prejudice, wounds, or deceit, you will see me more clearly. You will hear me more distinctly, and you will live with a new awareness that eternal life is not only a future reward, but a living stream already flowing within you each day. I am the source of blessing, and you are the clean vessel. That is all I need. Sometimes you think you must see something miraculous to know I'm working something dramatic, undeniable, beyond normal limits, like a parted sea or the dead raised to life. But my child, I am not only present in thunderous moments, I am moving in the smallest details you often overlook. A door that opens just in time, a seemingly random encounter, a quiet idea that comes when you are anxious. That is me. Not loud, not showy, but full of power. Do you remember when I fed the 5,000? I didn't create food out of thin air. I used 5 loaves and 2 fish, something small from an ordinary child. It wasn't that the food was enough, it was that I touched it. What I need is not quantity, but willingness. When you place into my hands even the smallest thing, a bit of time, a little kindness, a quiet courage to pray, I can use it to change a day, a person, a generation. Often, you see yourself as small. You don't have a great platform, or standout talent, or anything impressive. And you wonder, can God really use me? The answer is, it's because you are small that I can move freely. What is humble? Hidden. Unassuming, that is the fertile ground where wonder can grow. I do not need you to do great things. I only need you to believe, and to take one small step, and you'll be amazed to look back and see What you thought was insignificant became the link that changed everything. A seed does not bloom in a day. It quietly breaks open beneath the soil. Little by little, faithfulness in the small is where I sow my greatest grace. When you choose kindness with no audience, when you pray for someone who may never know, when you quietly forgive, even while your heart still aches, that is when the miracle begins. Not a loud miracle, but a real one, transforming you, softening others, clearing the way for me to move in the silence. Do not underestimate what you have. A gentle word of encouragement, a simple gift, a daily act of perseverance to keep your heart clean. All these, when placed in my hands, will bear fruit far beyond what you imagine. I am still the God of miracles, but most of my miracles do not begin with something grand, but with a flicker of faith. And when your heart stays childlike, I can use you to become the answer to someone's prayer. So don't wait until something big happens to believe I am working. Learn to see me in the small, because sometimes the wonder doesn't come through thunder but through a whisper. And if you learn to trust in the small, you will never miss the great things I am quietly preparing for you. My child, after all I've revealed, I want you to know one thing. I am still here, not distant, not silent to punish you, not withdrawn because you're not enough. I am here quietly faithful, silently steadfast. I am here even when you sit in darkness, when your heart feels heavy, when your faith feels as thin as a thread, and in the very moment you feel the weakest, I am holding you the strongest. You've heard me speak about truth, about forgiveness, about choosing love over revenge, about walking in purity of heart, about the strength that comes from trusting. All these are not commands for you to try harder. They are reminders that you are never walking alone. Every time you choose me over your flesh, every time you close your eyes to forgive instead of keeping score, you are becoming more like me. And I see every single one of those moments. I remember, I uphold you, and I bless the heart that is growing brighter in my light. You may not see results right away. There may be days when everything remains still, when nothing seems to shift. But trust this, when you choose me, you are planting a season that I, myself, will bring to fruit. No one who sows in me will ever be forgotten. No one who forgives in me will remain unhealed. No one who guards their heart will be left without my favor. I see it all, and I forget nothing. My child, I do not need you to become something impressive in the eyes of others. I only need you to remain in me. Do not chase after people. Do not measure your heart by the reactions of the world. And do not compare your path to anyone else's. I have a journey designed just for you, complete, perfectly timed, and drawn with everlasting love. As long as you continue to choose me each day, even in the smallest things, you will see I am transforming your life in deep, unshakable ways. And in the end, if there are moments when your heart grows weak, if you stumble, if you do what you once promised you wouldn't do, not run from me, come back. Speak honestly. Bring even your hesitation, your disappointment, your fears to me. I never close the door. I am your Father, and I do not change. No matter how often your heart rises and falls, I love you just the same as the very first day. I still call your name with tenderness. I still hold my arms open to receive you. So if you're standing at a crossroads, if your heart is tangled between truth and emotion, between wounds and the longing to be healed, choose me. Because in me, you will not lose what truly belongs to you. Only what is false, what was never meant for you, what has drained your strength for so long that will be lifted away, so that you can truly live. so that you can walk in freedom, so that you can continue forward with peace in the path I have prepared just for you. Long before you knew it existed, I love you. Always. Not based on time. Not changed by circumstances. Not dependent on conditions. And never limited. I am the one who began the good work in you, and I, myself, will bring it to completion. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this. You are not just an audience. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred message. Amen.